What's up, guys? Sam Jammy here. I'm going to go over a couple charts that I believe are very have either really good setups or everybody's a little unsure of how to approach going into Q1 as of right now, watching this video, we're about a week away from the inauguration, and it is a questionable time in the market for many different reasons. So I'm picking a couple of the most popular stocks, and we're just going to give some kind of setups for Q1, what we're looking at, so on and so forth. I'm going to start with Tesla here. I'm going to turn on my volume profile. And let's get started. All right, so if we've got Tesla up. I've got about 6 months of Tesla up. I'm going back to December, so not even 6 months, a month. Excuse me, I'm on the hourly. I thought I was on the 4-hour. I'm on the 15-minute. Let me put on the hourly. All right. This is what I'm concerned about is this area here. Full disclosure, we're at 413. So obviously, if we go back first and go onto the weekly chart here and just look at some Tesla levels that we do need to know as of where we're at right now, which is 412. All right, so we've got this wick high right around 414.92. Oh, wrong hotkeys. That's my Weeble hotkeys. There we go. And then that's about all I'm really interested in right now because that was the previous all-time high. So 414.92 is an important level. And we're actually tested that, popped above it today, came back down. So this is what we want to see on Tesla here. If we look at this chart here, we broke out of this downtrend, all right? And we kind of came back and tested it right in this area here. Not like a super clean, perfect retest, but it was definitely a retest right there. All right, and as far as volume shelves go on this area of the market here, let's just identify the areas we might have a little bit of a chop in. Obviously right here. So, these are the peak volume areas. We've got right here, and then we've got down here where the actual volume profile is, and right there. All three are very similar volume. So I'm going to make all three of them pink because that's where we expect to find a little bit of resistance. That's the color I've got for my volume profile shelves, point of control, so we'll keep it that color because all three are very similar volume. All right. So we broke out of this downtrend. We're pulling back here. What I want to see is consolidation. We're pulling back as we speak right here. What I really want to see is consolidation at the very least holding the bottom of this here. So this area right here is my consolidation zone. All right? Because we chopped it up in this area for quite a while. And that was also our point of control. We don't want to end up back down in this chop. If we end up back down in this chop and start to test into the 390 down to 370 area again, I'm not feeling great about Tesla at all. I really want to see us hold this area here. And then as far as taking entries, 420 is the key. All right. So we've got two possible entry points I'm really looking at. Entry point one is going to be 420 right here. Break and hold of 420. But if we do start to downtrend, I like a bounce and a hold of 400 if we pick up support at 400 and then taking entry around 405. Those are the two areas I like for entries. All right, so that's what I'm looking at on Tesla. Is those two entry points. So like I said before, if we pull back, I want to see us hold 400 and then reclaim 405, or I want to see a break and a hold of 420. The area between 405 and 420 is really not ideal to take entry. It's more so taking the confirmation up or the retest down because we're in between the two right here. And then what I'm looking at in that area as well is we look at our target areas about 428 to 430. Right about here is our target area 1. And then obviously 435 is target area 2. And then from there, it's just riding it on back up to about 450 or so. So I've got a lot of questions. Are you bullish or bearish on Tesla? I'm incredibly bullish on Tesla overall. I am. I'm very bullish on Tesla. I'm bullish on, self-drive. I'm bullish on the technology. I'm bullish on their deliveries. They're having more deliveries than production, than vehicles produced in Q4, which is a big deal. I know they missed overall in the year, but there was a lull in that, which means there was a couple quarters where we made more than we delivered. That's not what you want to see. You want to see more deliveries than production. So the demand is there. So that combination is really what I want to see. And really it comes down to, I'm just going to make this yellow, like caution. That's the do not enter zone on Tesla. So that's really what I'm looking at there. We're in some calls currently. Those are the two areas where I will be adding on. I get extremely bullish, a weekly close above 420. I think 500 is on the horizon. A weekly close sub 370. I think 300 is on the horizon. So that's what I got on Tesla. Snow, which was requested. Put a little longer time frame on this bad boy. Oh, this is a whole lot of stuff from Skills Labs and everything right here. I'm going to have to delete all that. All right. Nice little... Well, we have a bull flag, first off. That came back out. That came on and retested. So we had the falling wedge here. That what happened is, as you can see right here, we broke out of the falling wedge. We came down, retested it, and now we're pushing again. That's a nice little setup right there. Delete that. Jesus. All right. And obviously, we kind of picked up support mid-gap fill, which is always a little bit peculiar. Just trying to see what we got going on here. Double top area. Oh. All right. So overall, it really looks like this is kind of our bull bear flip over the last 30 to 60 days or so. Like this is like the bull bear flip zone to me. We're either above it or we're below it. And another thing, as you can see right here from this area, which is quite interesting, is above it we had a head and shoulders. And below it we have an inverted head and shoulders. So this is definitely a flip zone. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at a break and a hold of this 60-day point of control. So 171.71. Break and a hold of 171.71 is what I'm looking at. Oh my gosh. Sorry. So at that point there, and then what is that, 152? So let's say 150. So those are the two major areas I'm looking at right here for calls and for puts. We do have the inverted head and shoulders, nice pattern set up here. We do have the point of control, so we really want to break through that volume shelf before I would be willing to invest any money in. So let's put right here. Call entry, and then we could play that up through 177. Oh my gosh, I keep using my hotkeys for Webull. I'm so sorry, guys. And then target zones at the top of our flag on the bull side. And on the bear side, it would be down to this area here. So we've got two pretty concise, clean areas for both puts and calls. And between them, I don't like opening any positions in between those, but that's kind of what I'm looking at on snow. And if we were to put this in a lot longer time frame, as we could see at the break of that area is when things would get really interesting. At that break and that hold of, 189 or so, if we start to get into that $200 range, that's where things can really start to get interesting. This zone right here is a massive, massive zone. That once we start to get into this, things can get interesting. There we go. So that's what I'm looking at on snow. We did have that again. We had that bull flag break and retest. And we're coming up to this inverted head and shoulders. Very clean. Actually, a really nice chart here on this. I'll post this one in the chat. All right, we got IWM next. Let me close this one more. Oh. All right. So we're right back into this chop range that I just do not like. I'm actually probably going to skip this one because the reality is the following. Yes, we're coming up to the 1 year point of control right now. We're like literally hitting our head on it right now at 220.69. However, right above that, we've got more chop up through 227 or so. So really, you can make the case for the play of the daily hold above, say, 222, play it up through the 227 or so right here. But we're not really getting into true bullish territory until that break at 227. That's when things get exciting. For now, I would almost expect rejection here before I would expect continuation. And that's just dead ass. And at that point, my bearish entry is going to be 217. Right here. Lost that. We would play it down to this wick low. And then it really starts to get ugly. But I don't like the upside into this chop here. I mean, you can make, like I said, you can make the case for playing the bull side at the break of point of control. Right here, but then we're in this horrendous chop. So I don't even like it. I don't even want to make anything green here. I guess I'll make the green entry way up here. Before this, I'm good on the call side. That's all I got on IWM. Square. What the heck? I got all sorts of random shit drawn on this one, huh? Oh. Retesting an inverted head and shoulders. I see. Right back in our nasty confirmation zone. All right. So let's delete some shit and reevaluate. We got here. We got here. I mean, I kind of called this. I said, come down. We might retest head. We'll see. All right. So on square, full disclosure, I don't like longs. If we bounce here, sure, you can make a case for playing longs up to 89, which is 6 or 7% from where we're at now. But in general, historically, this is the fuck you line. It's been saying, nope, you can't get past me. If we were to put this on a long term, like a weekly, They say, nope, you can't have that line. We had one candle up there teasing it and said, nah, this is the fuck you line. Until we can get like a weekly candle open and close above there, a second time, we just don't have a lot of room to the upside until we can break 90. We can't take in good faith an entry here, in my opinion. Yeah, we got the pullback. Yeah, we've got the little bit of a flag here. Falling wedge, whatever the hell you want to call it today. But in general, I don't love this because it's a chart. It's a chart of broken promises and unrealized dreams. Because it's a setup. It doesn't follow through. As far as the bear side goes, if we do lose 80 with confirmation, putting it up, that's a little put entry down to, like 73 or so, which is 10%. So it's square, SPY. So this right here is, for me, the most important line. Because this line, aside from one day out of the last several months, this line has picked up every sell. You can even pull it back further from the beginning of this breakout. So really, since November, since the beginning of this breakout, this trend line has picked up every sell. I mean, people complicate the hell out of this, but that's all you need is one line. And then identify a couple strong pivot points. So I got this strong pivot point here. All right, because this was a double top that turned into a bounce point. All right, that's a strong pivot point. Right here is a strong pivot point. We're actually starting to flirt with it right now. So those 2 points, that's like my main levels. I'm actually going to pull this down. There we go. So we really want to hold this area here, which is that 581-ish area. We're pulling back right now, aren't we? Yeah, we're just kind of slow fading. So let's put this a little shorter term here. But overall, guys, everybody should have this dotted line drawn on your chart. All right. That's the Grand Pumba line. Historically, when we touch off here, we usually don't come back until we go almost to the top of this range every time. I mean, we can actually pull that back a little bit too and make the case for being like right there. But just in general, historically, this should be the area where we should get some strong move. We filled the gap this morning. Sorry, yesterday morning. I lost a day there. So okay, so like on the SPY here, I want to hold the 581. If we hold 581 and break high of day today, because this is part of the reason I took those swing calls yesterday. I did swing calls. So at the break of 585, break and hold, I like calls. A couple week out calls. I'm talking 4-6 week out calls because it should set us up with a play at least to here. And our second play would be to here. All right. And then obviously on the put side, I'm not interested in playing that gap down again. But if we lose this area again, and this one I'm going to have to say on the weekly, if we lose, let's say 573 on the weekly, I know we're pretty far down there. This is long-term targets, guys. Then we're really in trouble. If we lose that 573 on the weekly, we should expect it shooting down to this area here, okay? And then we'll have the decision of either coming back up to retest, or we could really have some issues then, down to 540 or so. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense for the SPY. So the two levels I'm really looking at for the SPY for our call entry is the 585. And at that point, I'm playing them up to 600-ish. And then on the put side, short-term puts would be, you know, at the loss like 581. In here. Lost yesterday's low, and then you could play those into here. All right, so I hope that makes sense. So major levels to pay attention to on the SPY. One we actually opened up at today, which is that 581. And then this channel is really quite important, guys. I'm just to remind you, for well over a year now, every time we touch this line, we bounce. We had one day slip below, we reclaimed it, bounced, and we just touched it again yesterday. And historically, when we bounce off that line, the SPY gets interesting. But those are my levels. Let me stretch this and put it in the chat for y'all. And on that, I'm going to end this video. Thank you guys, everybody on the video.